Okay, the countdown's going. I'm just going to say hello to everyone. My name's Christian Sasse here on Sassemedia, SassePhoto. So we've got another nice, interesting session here. So just have just over 2 minutes and then we'll go live. And we have a very diverse guest today. It's going to be very different. We've touched on the University of Notre on the Eagles before, as you probably remember a few months ago, but we had, at that time, I think everyone was on holiday, so I couldn't get anyone, but now I guess they're back to work. Yep, they're back to work. I've got a Brett Peters here as a guest, and it's going to be very interesting from the Environmental Change Initiative from the Notre Dame-LEEF, and we'll tell you in a moment what LEEF is all about, but I think you're going to find this very interesting. And I think you're going to learn lots of new vocabulary. So I look forward to you all tuning in then, and I'll talk to you in a minute. So, good evening. It's Friday, the 11th of May. Welcome to another start of a lovely weekend. We have sunshine here in Vancouver from British Columbia and another exciting educational Raptor Eagle program streaming live to you. And we've got an interesting guest. You may have just heard my introduction. But before we go to the introduction, I would just like to give you some news updates, and this time it's all about Ospreys. It just came in today. I wanted to greet all of you. I can see there are 42 watching now, so that's very nice to see the increase. I can see the comments come in. So you're going to have lots of opportunity to interact. Okay, so I will just switch over 1 second to my laptop. Let me just do this quickly. Let's see if we can do this. There we go. Okay, so let's see. So what I wanted to show you is the following. This is from the UK. This is something that Osprey Mama made me aware of today. In the woodlands, that's the Woodland Trust in the UK. There has just been an incident there where a pine marten steals egg from a nest, and sometimes this is misinterpreted by ospreys stealing the, doing something to the eggs. This is not the case. So just have a look at the video. I'll just start the video now. So obviously it's nighttime. Okay, and anyway, this this marten goes on to steal all the eggs then, which of course many are quite upset about, which I can understand. But what is interesting then from the behavior here is just to see the ospreys now coming back in, obviously noticing that something is missing, and you know, they will go sit in the nest bowl, incubating for some time until they realize and give up. So it's interesting to watch this type of animal behavior. I know it's a cruel incident, but this is what happens in nature, and I have not seen this ever on an osprey nest like this before. Anyway, thank you very much from Osprey Mama for sending this clip in. I think this is as cruel as it is. It's quite remarkable. I mean, this is nature, so no reason to get too upset. But thank you for bringing that in. And now something local. You may have remembered last year that I was at the eagle nest where the red-tailed hawk came in Vancouver Island, Sydney. Well, this, you may also remember Terry Venabels, and he's a brilliant photographer, and there has been an incident there where an osprey nest was forced to relocate, or the ospreys were forced to relocate, and what happened there was, well, there were Canada geese that were there first in the nest, and so the ospreys tried to nest there and they couldn't. So what they did is they built a new nest, and they typically build them on the medium voltage poles. Now, I'm an electrical engineer, so I've seen this many times, you know, the conflict between nature and the way you have to deal with this. But BC Hydro, that's the local hydro facility, did a great job. So they were building their new nest not far from the old nest, but at a place where it where they would be endangered, because it was a line that was offline at some times, and they would switch it on again. And they were afraid, of course, that there would be an electrocution. So what they did then was they wanted to relocate the nest. And by just at that time, the Canada geese left again. So they did the relocation, and Terry has just sent me in some images just a few hours ago, so I just wanted to show them quickly. There we go. Let's see. Here we go. So you can see what they've done there. So all they had to do is they had to take the complete nest, and it was quite an act, and secure it and bring it back on the other pole, as you can see. And so they did that, and they secured it. And the good news is that the ospreys have accepted the nest, so it's the old nest, it's back to that. The Canada geese are now gone. So one of these interesting stories here between the between the utilities and nature. So quite very nice to see. I think it's especially nice after I've just shown you the other incident, which was not so pleasant. Let me just open up my, oops, now what happened to my, don't tell me it's all gone. One second. I had all my, windows open. Let me just check what happened to them. Oh, that is a nuisance. That is a nuisance because okay, no problem. I'm just going to go to my history quickly and bring in the tabs again. Let me just see, because I want now to jump to, let me see, where is it? Ah, here we go. Okay. Well, it's okay. So I was going to show you where the University of Notre Dame is. That's where we're going to spend our time now. And it's actually between Chicago and Detroit. And it's in the state of Indiana. And you may remember at that time, I was showing this webpage, but at that time, we didn't have anybody from the faculty or from the research institute to talk to us, but now we do, and it's Brad Peters. So it's very nice I'll welcome him in a moment. I just quickly wanted to show you a little bit of the background. We'll jump into the eagle nest also in a moment, but before we do that, just let me jump back on my history tab here, because for some reason it has all closed. So I will quickly jump up and get this back again. Ah, there was the Google map. Let me just see. Uh, yes, this was the first one. That's a YouTube video. That is the first one. So they have a beautiful Notre Dame leaf eagle highlights. Sorry, that's the eagle highlights that they have, and you can see that they have two eaglets, and we'll talk about them in a moment. But let me just go back to the history and get up the other one, and I just wanted to show you the introduction here. Let me see, where was it? Environmental Change Initiative. Yes, here they are, the videos. Okay, we'll show this one. Yes, so what they've done is they've made these beautiful small educational videos about their eco center that they have, and it's really an outdoor lab, which is very unique. So it's sort of a lab that lies somewhere between a laboratory that you have indoors and the Earth as a huge laboratory, which you're trying to understand. So it's an in-between, and they have a lot of students working on that. And I'm just going to jump to a video quickly. Let me see where it was. If I can find it. Let's see where it was. Sprays. Where was it now? Sorry about this. I don't know why all the tabs closed, which is quite a nuisance. But anyway, we'll have it in a second. Here it should. No, that's eagles and ecosystems. Hot topic. Where was it? Live. Well, I don't seem to find it at the moment. I might find it later, but you know what? I won't waste a lot of time. I can't find this video now. What we will do instead is I'm going to get Brett in now. Just give me a second, and maybe I'll find it later again. So let's just bring in Brett. Hi, Brett. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh yes, loud and clear. Very good. Well, thank you, Brett, for being here with us live. Sorry, I was going to show this beautiful introduction that you've sent to me, which has suddenly disappeared. But anyway, I might be able to bring it back. But maybe you could just allude or just explain to our listeners what LEEF stands for and what your role is, please.
Yeah. Well, first, thanks for inviting me to come on your show. And I want to say hi to my family. They're watching right now live in California. So hi, Mom, Dad, Matt, Lindsay. So, but ND-LEEF stands for the Notre Dame Linked Experimental Ecosystem Facility. And like you had alluded to earlier, it's really an outdoor laboratory. And what we've done there is we've built different ecosystems, streams, ponds, and wetlands for scientists, both from the University of Notre Dame and from other institutions, to be able to utilize for their experiments. And you had a great description earlier. It's kind of halfway between the laboratory, in which lots of experiments are done, where we have lots of control. We can keep all of our variables constant. And then on the other side, the real world, where we do lots of experiments in natural lakes, streams, and wetlands as well. But in those situations, lots of times our experiments, the signals that we're looking for in our experiments are swamped out due to natural variation and maybe some freak weather events or something like that. So it's a nice in between those two. So it's really a tool for scientists to use. And really, the Eagles coming has been something that's just been nice icing on the cake, so to speak, for the facility.
Well, Brett, thank you very much. Very nicely explained. So I can quickly switch back now. I just want to show this to our quickly to our viewers. Let's just do that. Okay, so we have it. I have this clip now, and I'm just going to play this just for 2 or 3 minutes. So you get an idea of what it looks like.
Contains a stream, pond, and wetland. All experimental ecosystems at ND-LEEF are supplied from water from a common reservoir, which is fed with groundwater with a very low background nutrient concentration, allowing researchers to achieve a wide range of nutrient concentrations in the experimental ecosystems. The watersheds at ND-LEEF are very unique in that the upstream reach of each stream can be directed into the pond and then from the ponds into the downstream reach, thus linking two types of experimental ecosystems. The watersheds can also be configured so that the streams and ponds are independent, with the streams flowing around the ponds. When unlinked from the streams, the ponds can be fed directly from the reservoir and discharged directly into the wetlands, eliminating any connection with the stream and offering researchers the ability to change the residence time of the ponds to as quick as 6 days. The ponds at ND-LEEF are 30 meters in diameter and have a maximum depth of 2 meters. The streams at ND-LEEF are 119 meters long, approximately 1/2 meter wide, and have a trapezoidal channel cross-section and are lined with concrete to stabilize the channel morphology and allow efficient changing of the stream substrate. Stream discharge is easily changed using ball valves at the top of each of the two watersheds. Discharge can be adjusted from 0 to 20 liters per second. Over the past several years, researchers have investigated how ecosystem processes are affected by stream substrate.
Well, I think that is quite remarkable. Brett, is this unique?
Yes. So ND-LEEF is globally unique in the sense that we are the only place that has these experimental ecosystems which we can interconnect. So I wasn't sure what you showed there, but in the clip, but if we mentioned that the streams, we can divert and flow them into the ponds and then back to the streams and then finally to the wetlands. So that's very unique. There's other facilities, not many of them, that have ponds standalone or streams standalone, but ND-LEEF is the only one that has this unique capability of it linking the ecosystems together, which is how they're often configured in the real world. So it's a nice feature to have.
Well, that's absolutely remarkable. Anyway, I just wanted to quickly also say to our viewers, thank you for tuning in. So many, we've got 71 now, and also want to say thank you very much for your kind donations. It's absolutely remarkable what you're doing. We're really flattered, and it really helps us to continue. So thank you very much. Well, Brad, you know that I'm surprised that this is the only facility. Actually, it shocks me. I mean, you would think that this is one of the most important things to do. But anyway, before we go on, let's maybe talk a little bit about the eagles. So I'm just going to switch now, because I know there are some viewers who would say, hey, where are the eagles? Where are the eagles? So I'm just going to, let's just, before we go on with this interesting subject, I'm just going to switch back here. So I don't know, Brett, if you can see the screen, but I'm now at the moment on the I'm looking at the main page, and now I'm clicking on live bald eagle cams, and what I can see at the moment is you can see here St. Patrick's County Park, and I can see a view from the top, and I'm just going to play this. I don't know, that doesn't look, that is a live view, right? Because you've still got daytime there, right? It's 1855, so it looks like a live view, right?
It is live, even though it says it's not live. It is.
Sorry, I missed out the audio a bit. Sorry about that, because I didn't see that Brad wasn't in live, so excuse for that. So he I cut out a bit of the audio, but he's saying it's very much a live view. So you saw the cameras, but I don't have the abilities at the moment to switch backwards and forwards without cutting you out, unless wait a second. I think I can do this. One second. I think I know a way to do this, because I just realized I cut your audio out, which is not the idea. So let's try again. Okay, can you say something, Brad?
Yes.
Yeah, you're in. Yes, now we've got it. Now we got it. Okay.
I was just saying earlier that the timestamp on the camera is incorrect. I've been fighting with the software on this particular camera for a couple months now, and for whatever reason, it always wants to revert back to some incorrect time. So rest assured that this is live, even though the timestamp might not indicate so.
Okay, so this is very much live, and you actually are also a camera controller, or do you have viewers that do that?
No, I am the only one who controls the camera. So if you see it moving, you can yell at Brett for moving it.
Okay, and obviously I read that these two, and I remember reporting on that, I think it was the 31st of March and 2nd of April or something like that, and they seem to be doing quite well, right?
Yeah, so they were actually both born on April 2nd.
Right.
The eggs were laid 4 days apart on, let's see, I got this written down somewhere. I should know it. Yeah, the eggs were the eggs were laid on February 22nd and February 26th, and then both eggs hatched on April 2nd. So we witnessed some delayed incubation with the first egg, which was really neat to see. We were getting a little worried, because it was pretty cold here in the end of February, and they weren't sitting on the egg for 15, 20 minutes at a time that first day or two, and we started thinking, are they going to abandon it? But they knew exactly what they were doing.
And so this started all in 2015, if I remember correctly, right?
Yes, that's right. So the first eaglet was hatched and fledged in 2015. We had another in 2016, another in 2017. So this is our fourth spring with eaglets at ND-LEEF.
And you got remarkable resolution on these cameras. You were just zooming in. It's, I mean, it's absolutely superb.
Yeah, it really is amazing. And I should note that you'll notice that the camera is on a schedule. Every 20 minutes, it zooms in and pans around the nest. And what it's doing is it's taking still photos, high-resolution still photos, and uploading those to a cloud storage, where we're going to be analyzing those later this summer and cataloging all the prey items that are brought into the nest, identifying fish species, and then using published regressions to determine the sizes of those fish, and hopefully get a publication out of that.
Beautiful, beautiful work. Very, very nice. I love the science behind it. Well, okay. Well, thank you very much, Brett. Well, we're going to jump now from the eagles, because I think what we really need to do is focus much more on your project, and we've just seen a little bit about it. And so I'm going to open the discussion up very much. Let me just look at that. I see question number one that just came in from Terry Green. Hi, Brett. A couple of decades ago, I studied something in college called, wait, let me just close this 1 second so we don't get any interference here. 1 second. Let me come back. I studied something in college called systems ecology. Is your man-made ecosystem similar to that concept? Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure of what exactly you're referring to as systems ecology. What a lot of what we do here, I would say, falls under what's currently called ecosystem ecology. So really looking at the ecosystems and how they process chemicals or nutrients and other things, both from biological alive things and also the abiotic or non-living components. So, for example, in our streams, the streams that you saw in the video, what we've done with those is we switched out the substrate or the rocks in the streams. We have 4 different stream reaches, and we switched them out, so we have small rocks, pea gravel in one stream, larger cobble rocks, and then in the the other 2 streams we have mixtures of those rocks, and we look at how that change affects things like how the streams are able to remove nutrients such as nitrogen and phosphorus from the stream. So it is what's generally termed ecosystem ecology, because we're looking at these the ecosystem functioning, and not so much population biology or population ecology when we're looking at individual species per se.
Well, Brad, that's really interesting. What I find so interesting here is I can't get over it that you are the only ones doing this, because it seems so incredibly important. Did you get any surprises so far? Surprising results that were unexpected?
I think with some of the I should note that I manage the facility, and it's really the Notre Dame graduate students, faculty members, and research staff who are the ones conducting the research. But so I don't want to take credit for that. But a recent graduate, Ariel Sjogren, was doing studies looking at how environmental DNA, so this is DNA that's actually comes off of all organisms. So every fish, anything that's in the water, anything anywhere, is always giving off little pieces of DNA through their skin, through feces, through urine, and it's become a important tool, the ability to detect this DNA, individual species, in natural resource management. Because rather than finding a species like a fish and actually catching it or seeing it, we can test water and know it's there by finding its DNA. But one thing we don't understand in flowing waters in particular is how that DNA moves through streams. Because if we find it somewhere, we want to know, does this mean that it was here? Could it have been here a year ago? Could it have been a mile upstream? Could it have been a mile upstream a year ago? So she did some experiments at ND-LEEF where she just added DNA. So just water that came from an aquarium where fish were, not the fish themselves. And what she found was that the substrate that I was mentioning earlier, the rocks on the bottom of the stream, really had a large effect on the transport of that DNA. And in fact, the cobble, the bigger substrate, didn't seem to remove the DNA at all, versus the other ones had a fairly significant impact in basically keeping the DNA from moving downstream. So these little experiments can help managers understand the results of the eDNA samples in the field, understand what those mean a little bit better. So I think that would be one surprise. When you're doing experiments, pretty much everything is a surprise, because that's why you're doing the experiment.
Yes, well, and especially such complex experiments. Well, this is a very relevant question here from Osprey Mama. Where do you publish your work? So where can we read about it?
So that study that I just talked about was in a publication called Scientific Reports. I am not sure if it is what they call an open access journal. A lot of the scientific journals, unfortunately, you have to pay for. So a lot of them, increasingly so, are open access, so anyone can find them online. If you were to Google eDNA and ND-LEEF, you would probably bring up that article at least, because I know it's a fairly prestigious journal, so it comes up high in search results. So other stuff has got published in some fluid dynamics journals. But mainly academic peer-reviewed publications. Not the stuff that you'll find in the grocery store next to the checkout stand.
Yes, and I know that by experience, by looking to hummingbirds in many areas, you have to spend a lot of time understanding what they even mean. Before you get the nomenclature, and the acronyms are horrendously difficult if you don't have the background. So I completely sympathize.
But I do want to say that that is true. And part of the mission of our organization here, the Environmental Change Initiative, is to do science that is translational, that that does impact management, and it is accessible. So we try to do outreach. That's a big part of ND-LEEF, and what I do at ND-LEEF is doing outreach programs to try to break out of that academic bubble and get this information to the general public, because I think it is interesting to lots of people.
Yes, interesting and very important. I certainly agree. I'm glad to hear that. And here comes question number 3 from Jerry Blankenberg. Are the Notre Dame eagles banded?
They are not banded. We have had several people inquire about that recently, and it just is not something that we have really pursued. The Indiana DNR and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service knows about these eagles, because I made sure to let them know we were installing this webcam before we did. And I haven't asked for it specifically, but they have not shown necessarily interest in coming and doing it. And we don't, at Notre Dame, we don't have any ornithologists currently in the faculty, so there isn't a necessarily a research interest at this point in the eagle. So no, we have not banded them.
Very well. Okay, and next question from Glenn Hazelwoody. Has any type of fish you found surprised you?
Let me think about it. Yeah. What's really surprised me, I should say that my background as a master's student was in aquatic ecology and more towards fish and fisheries research. So the fish really do fascinate me, and often I'm talking more about what's getting brought in the nest than the actual eaglets. So we have documented at least 10 different fish species. And I think the thing that surprises me the most is that the diversity of fish that they're bringing in, and the fact that the fish, what they bring in, it seems to be different every single day. I would have expected them to cue in on different fish species during different times of the year, when fish, maybe bluegill, are spawning. We'd see a lot of those. They're up in shallow water, or when the salmon or the rainbow trout are running, we'd see those. But what we're seeing is just like it's a different fish almost every time something comes in. So I think that's been the biggest surprise to me, is just the diversity of fish. Probably the coolest thing that I've seen, because I'm a fisherman and I always like catching northern pikes, that we have seen a few northern pike come in, which it's been really neat.
Very well, thank you. That's a very detailed answer also from a fisherman. Okay, Kathy Harter is asking, do all the fish from one area have similar DNA?
No. The DNA is, well, every individual in a population, whether it's human or fish, would have a specific DNA sequence. When we're using eDNA as a diagnostic tool for detecting species presence in natural resources like streams or ponds, what we do is DNA sequences are just millions of little base pairs that code for life. What we're able to do through genomics is identify species-specific sequences. So it's a sequence of A, G, C, and T's that is specific to just the species we're interested in and no other. And that is what we look for. We look for fragments that have that little code, and that's how we know that we have what we're looking for.
And I'm sure very complex. Next question from Maxine Wirth. Hi Maxine, good to see you again. Does the DNA attach to the rocks or stones?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's what I, I'm not sure that they have 100% determined all the mechanisms by which the DNA is being absorbed, but I know that they hypothesize that especially biofilms. So biofilms is kind of the generic term for all that scuzzy stuff that's on rocks. It's a combination of algae, fungus, animals, and as the stream, especially in our streams throughout the summer, begin to accumulate more and more biofilm, and they are looking at how that impacts the DNA's movement downstream. So yeah, I definitely think it does.
And Dana brings in a question. Hi, Dana Steele. Do you get DNA that's baffling, that you cannot explain? That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I guess that would be Sasquatch or something. Our experiments were generally not looking at we are just adding a known DNA source into our streams and then looking for that specific DNA source DNA as it goes downstream. So we aren't looking at the whole suite of DNA that does exist in a stream or a pond. Generally, we're looking for a specific species presence.
Very good. And now we go to your background, Beach Girl 75. Hi, Beach Girl 75. Brett, what got you interested in your field of study?
Well, so for me, I got interested in nature and aquatic ecology through my experiences at a family cabin up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And I was fortunate enough to spend lots of time there as a kid. Pretty much a lot of my summers were spent with a mask and a snorkel on, exploring the lake underwater, catching crayfish. That was actually always my favorite thing to do, was catch crayfish. And then actually that fascination with crayfish actually was my stepping stone into graduate school here at Notre Dame, where I started in 2004. And through one thing and another, I'm still here. So it all started with me catching crayfish.
Very well. And Terry Green asked, where is the primary source of fish coming from? Terry, I assume you probably mean that refers to the eagle nest. I'm not sure if you mean that to the ecosystem they have or the nest, but maybe you can answer both, Brett, in any case.
Yeah, so there's two ponds at ND-LEEF and also a reservoir at ND-LEEF. I think you saw that in the video. Neither one of those has any fish in it currently. And really the only nearby water for the eagles is the St. Joseph River, which is about 2,000 feet, less than a half mile from the nest. So we know that they are, almost always when we see them come and go from the nest, they're heading straight down to the river. The St. Joe River has ample fish in it, and that's one really neat thing about this research project that I talked about earlier, where we're looking at the prey, the nest, the diet, the prey items that we see in the nest. We're going to be comparing that hopefully to prey availability in the St. Joseph River. And it's actually a unique opportunity because there really isn't any other lakes nearby. So we're fairly confident that all the fish are coming from the St. Joseph River. So through some fisheries surveys there, we hope to be able to quantify the species abundance in the river, and then also what they bring in, to get an idea of how they are actually what they're selecting for as far as fish species.
Yeah, and now we're jumping back to the eagles here from Chaplain Chick. Hi, Brett. Are you going to get infrared or night vision for your cams? Obviously, they want to watch more.
Yeah, I've heard people ask about that, and sound as well. At this point, we aren't planning on it. Maybe next time we have to go up into the nest for some kind of maintenance, like replacing the camera or something that happens. Obviously, we would be doing that when the eagles aren't around. We would look into possibly adding some features like that, but probably not until we have to go up there, because we really want to minimize the impact that we have on the eagle nest.
Okay, and now comes an exam question here from Nicole. What are the two basic categories of ecosystem? I'm not sure.
Basic categories of ecosystem.
I'm not quite sure what she means, but that's the question. I don't know.
Maybe man-made and pristine ecosystems, I would say.
Right. Okay.
Because they're all ecosystems.
They're all ecosystems. Very good. Maxime Wirth is coming again. Guess you do not have any snook there, Brett. Florida type fish. Oh, snook.
No, snook. No, snook are.
Snook, I see.
Yeah, snook are saltwater or estuarine type fish that I know likes to live in mangroves and whatnot. We don't have any of those in Indiana. I don't think they would survive our climate here. We've been having warmer winters, so maybe one day, but let's hope not.
Okay, good. And WP says, Brett, do your educational systems for K-12 students stream to classes around the country? We so need their awareness.
Was the question whether we do educational programs?
Yeah, whether you actually do some live streaming for K-12 students. Here again, do your educational programs for K-12 students stream to classes around the country? We so need their awareness.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea and something that we've kind of thought about, and informally I've communicated with people across the country. They'll call me up. My brother's a teacher out in California, and he'll be looking at the camera with the student and say, hey, what's that what's that fish up there? Can you zoom in? And I might be sitting on my computer, so I'll zoom in on it. I think it's a great idea. A format similar to this for education, but it's not something that we have done. But I could see it happening. We do programs at ND-LEEF for around eagle outreach. Actually, on Tuesday we have a group of small children coming to learn about eagles and view them, but nothing online yet. So yeah.
So it's a good point. And Lollaboo22, hi Lollaboo22. Have you noticed any hybrid mix in the fish in your area?
Hybrid mix? No, I don't know of any hybridization in our area. The only fish that I am aware of that hybridize in our area are, I believe, some of the sunfish potentially do. Those would be bluegill, pumpkin seed, red ears, green sunfish, and then also there's a tiger muskie, which is it's a mix between a muskie and northern pike. And I actually do know that both of those occur in the St. Joseph River, muskie and pike, but I do not know of a tiger muskie ever being caught there. It could happen. Can't say for sure.
Wow, you can see what interest there. This is fantastic. Osprey Mama, by the way, says, Christian, tell Brett to say Happy Mother's Day to his mother since she's watching.
Yes. Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
That's fantastic. Very nice. Question number 50 again from Glenn Hazelwoody. Brett, do you have any, I hope I pronounced this correctly, do you have any garfish?
We do have gar in the St. Joseph River. So garfish are a prehistoric fish. What family they're in is escaping me right now. They're very unique. They actually can breathe air. They have a modified swim bladder, so they can breathe air, and they do occur in the St. Joseph River. They occur in backwater areas where there is low oxygen. We have not seen a garfish brought up into the nest. I would love to see that, though. That would be really, really cool. They might not choose gar because they have notoriously tough scales to get through. I've seen someone online trying to cut one open, and it's really hard. So the eagles might have trouble with it.
Oh, very interesting. So I will push in a question now because Brett, I was earlier watching with interest because one of the I think it was an MSc student or maybe even a PhD student, and they were immersing argon into the stream. So argon is an inert gas, and I think, if I understand it correctly, the objective of this experiment was to see how gases are transported in the stream. And since argon is not absorbed by any organism and so on, they would get a better idea of how these gases are transported. Did this type of study really help? Is it possible to conclude something from there?
I'm not sure. That was done last year, and I have not stayed up to date with Martha and what her results look like. So yeah, you explained it great, though. What she was doing was she was looking at, she's really interested in nitrogen, nitrous oxide, and nitrous oxide and N2 gas exchange from streams, and so it's one of those things that's very hard to quantify in the real world. But she was putting argon, bubbling it in, which is a naturally occurring inert gas that occurs in the real world, in the environment, but at very low concentration. So we're able to spike it temporarily in the streams and look at how it decreases as it flows down, and that's due to the gas just leaving, just like carbonation would leave a soda pop, and so as we go downstream, measure that. But I'm not sure what her results, conclusions are.
Well, thank you. Okay, so Lullaboo22 again. Have you noticed a decline in certain fish population?
In our area?
I think so. I think that's what's meant. Probably.
Yeah. I'm not really sure. In general, the St. Joseph River, like so many Midwestern rivers, has been highly impacted through the construction of hydropower dams, through runoff from not just agriculture, and also urban land use change, which has really impacted those streams. And for so many years, streams were just thought as places to dump things, and we've seen a change in how we view streams and nature, and the St. Joseph River is coming back, and I know that the fish surveys that are done on the St. Joseph River every year are showing that it, contrary to what a lot of people think, it actually has a very healthy and diverse fish population. So, I would say that by and large, fish in our area seem to be doing well.
Very good. Okay, and Terry Green says one more, Brett. If your manipulated DNA got mixed into the natural ecosystem, could it produce genetically modified organisms? So that could be detrimental to the eaglets and other organisms. Thanks again for explaining.
Yeah, great question. But so the DNA that we put in is not actually modified. So what we've done, we're using carp as as a species that we're interested in, and we actually go to the local zoo, which has a bunch of carp in a pond, and just get the water from that pond, and then drip it with a little, drip into the streams at ND-LEEF, and that's all we're looking at. So we're just adding, basically carp pee, carp poop, carp, slime into the streams with no carp themselves being added. So we're not adding any kind of GMO, so to speak. And even if even if it was, there's no way for environmental DNA, which is all around us. I mean, it's like CSI, the crime scene shows, where we are leaving DNA. Animals, every stream, every river, every lake is just filled with DNA from every animal that's in there. And so there's no way for those to actually mix and create another viable organism. It's just cells and it strands at that point.
Yeah, I think you explained that very well. Thank you. So Maxime Wirt again, do the eagles bring in specific fish? So it's all about fish here. Do they seem to lean towards a particular fish species?
Yeah, that's what's been surprising to me, is that it really, I have not seen a trend in some kind of specialization on a fish species. We have seen largemouth bass, smallmouth bass, bluegill, rock bass, white sucker, rainbow trout, northern pike. It's a little bit of everything. So I would say that no, they don't seem to be. I think they are really opportunistic and will take whatever they can get, basically.
Well, this is so interesting because, Brett, this is the first time we are actually discussing what comes into the nest. It's usually never discussed, It's
okay.
so this is really, really interesting. So I'm just going to wait in for another question or two, and then we will go on to the questions, to the quiz question. So let's see, 1 second. Here's another one. Christy, hi, Christy H. Have you checked the difference between zoocarp DNA and wild carp DNA? Wow, now here we go.
We have not, but there's they're all common carp, so there's no reason to think that they would be any different. But that's a great question, and those are all, whenever we do an experiment, we make assumptions, and it's very good to challenge those assumptions and test them. So that would be something that we definitely want to take into consideration. So that's a great question.
Yeah, and I'm really impressed with the questions that are coming here. Thank you so much for sending them all. It's fantastic. Glenn Hazelwood is asking, a bread, what red meat brought to the nest surprised you?
So yeah, it's been mainly fish. There has been some red meat coming in. Raccoons, I guess, has been the most surprising. So a couple weeks ago, we had what appeared to be, there was a couple of days where fishing just didn't seem to be very good, and there wasn't much food, and they brought in what looked to be a scavenged raccoon. And then yesterday, or was it the day before, they brought in another small raccoon. This one does not appear to be scavenged. However, it was a small raccoon, and I noticed that some YouTube user captured the video of it and had it labeled as a puppy, and had quite a few comments about how sad it was, which, you could say it's sad that a raccoon also, I guess, but it definitely is not a domesticated dog. It's definitely a raccoon. If you look at the tail and also the hands, you can tell the difference between a raccoon and a domesticated dog.
Very good. Okay, well, that I think we've bombarded you enough with questions. Let's do something. Let's do something really interesting now. So, Brett, what I'm going to ask you now. Oh, there's one more question here. Okay, but that's the last question. Okay, so 1 second. Wobbies asks, Brett, what kind of mammals have you seen come into the nest as food? I think you sort of touched on that already.
I think we just talked. Yeah, that's what I was calling red meat.
Okay. Fine. Well, let's do something exciting now. So what we're going to do now is we're going to switch over to the wheel. So I must just move this down so be sure that we don't lose. Let's see, where are we? So we don't lose the sound. 1 second. Just switch this over, and then let's see where we have. Just give me a minute. There is the wheel. Oh no, we're not there with the wheel yet. Sorry, I'm jumping the gun now. Okay, so what I'm going to ask now, Brett, one second. Let's put the label back in here. There we go. Brett, could you, so what we have now is I'm going to jump over to the quiz part, and we usually ask 3 questions. So I know you've answered, given a lot of information. Can you, out of your head, ask the first question to our listeners to dial in? So just before they do that, I'm just going to give the number. Oh, and now it's blinking again. This is very irritating. It always happens. I don't know why. This is always some fault. But anyway, I'm just going to tell you the number quickly. 425-223-4960. That is 425-223-4960. And sorry for the blinking. I cannot do anything about it. It must be some software error here. 425-223-4960. So let's see if we can stabilize that. No, I can't. But anyway, so just remember the number. And Brett, please ask the first question.
Okay, so we talked a lot about DNA today, and DNA in streams and ponds. And I referred to it as eDNA, and I believe I defined what that E stands for. So does anyone remember what the E in eDNA is? So eDNA is DNA that's floating around in streams or ponds.
Okay, well, you heard that question. I'm just going to switch the blinking off. You can see also the number, again, is 425-223-4960, 425-223-4960. So if you know what the E and the eDNA stands for, please call now and give it a try. So there you go. This is exactly fun. This is going to be quite a lot of challenging questions. Let me just... oh dear, now the thing says download. Oh gosh, this is not my day here. Can you believe it? Now it's asking me to download a new phone here. That's ridiculous. It's not my day. Wait a second. I hope this will work nevertheless. It should work. Let's all dismiss. Okay, this should work. It should work. Okay. Okay, so anybody, the lines are open. Go ahead. Nobody seems to dare to dial in. I'm just going to, I hope the lines are really open. Yeah, I'm just giving Kevin a quick hint. Yeah, Kevin, he's the tech. Here we go. Okay, let's see now if we can do this. Hello? Just see if we can.
Hello?
Oh, hello. Hello. Here's Christian. With whom am I speaking, please?
This is Janine.
Janine. Hi, Janine. So Brett can't hear you, so that's why I'm going to translate it between those two. Janine, wonderful you called in. So where are you calling from?
San Diego, California.
San Diego. It's lovely weather, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Brett says, yeah, so that's great. Yeah, so can you answer the question, what does the E stand for in eDNA?
Is it environmental DNA?
Is it environmental DNA, Brett?
Bingo!
Yes. Bingo, you got it. You got the first question right. Very good. You paid attention. So
oh, thank you, Christian.
You did very well. Thank you so much for taking part. And so just stay on the line. Brett is later we're going to run the wheel, and he's going to say stop, and that'll determine what picture you're going to win. Okay?
Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks for dialing in. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Take care.
Bye. Okay, Brett, open to the next question, please.
Okay, this one I didn't necessarily cover, so I'm going to see who did the background reading on the website. What bird did the eagles at ND-LEEF take over? What bird species nest did they take over to build their nest?
Okay, so what bird species did they take over to build the nest? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I get it. Let's just see if we can answer this. Here's a call coming in. Hello?
Hello.
Hi, whom
This
am I
is Maxine.
Maxine, oh my goodness. Maxine, you have been generous and always, generous with your questions, generous with your donations, so I would like to thank you very much for all that.
You're welcome.
Maxine, it's so nice to hear your voice. So, if I understand, sorry, the ring, it was ringing in parallel, so I hope I understood, excuse me, I hope I understood Brett's question correctly. He says, from which bird species was the eagle nest taken over? So who nested there before the eagles did in Notre Dame? Is that right, Brett? I think that was the question. Yes, he's nodding. So that's a great question. I certainly don't know the answer. Do you?
Well, I was answering the first question.
You were answering the first question.
What the E stood for.
Yes, well, that's, unfortunately, that question has already been answered. So you're now going to be bombarded with a second question. So take a guess anyway. If you don't know, just take a guess. What bird species was this taken over from? Just take a good guess.
With the osprey?
So do you think it was an osprey nest?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Okay, Brett, so Maxine believes it's an osprey nest. Nope, it's not. Sorry about that. But anyway, thank you so much for calling in. And
sure.
You know what? We'll send you a picture anyway. You are such a great contributor. Okay, thank you so much. Okay.
That's okay.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Maxine. Thank you, fine.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so we still have an open. Now there's another call coming in. Let's just hear. Hello? Wait a sec. Hello?
Hello.
Hello,
Dr.
with whom am I speaking, please?
This is Glenn Hazel Woody.
Glenn Hazel Woody, thank you for all your questions tonight. You've been very busy
thank you.
bombarding, but now we ask a question to you. So the question is, the eagle nest at Notre Dame, who had the nest before, or what was it? What type of bird species was it? Do you know?
Well, yes, they're notorious for taking over hawks' nests.
They're notorious for taking over hawks' nests. Yes.
Should it be a hawk?
It should be a hawk, yes.
Yes.
Yes, Brett says yes, well done. Well done. Glenn Hazel Woody, you did marvelous. So,
I thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
You did well. You were the one who asked about the red meat coming in and so on. You asked great questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
From where were you calling in anyway? I didn't quite catch that.
Well, I'm calling in from my beautiful city of Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Very nice. Good. Well,
Yes.
You got lots of
Okay.
eagles there, a lot of action. Well, thank you so much for calling in. So you're calling number 2. And so Brett's going to ask one more question to you all. And that's it. So stay on the line and make sure we get your email. Thank you. Okay, fine.
Okay,
bye.
thank you,
Bye-bye.
Dr. Sasse.
Okay, bye. Okay, so Brett, one more question, please.
All right, last question. What river is the ND-LEEF eagle nest close to?
Okay, so it's all about the river here. The name of the river that is very close to the eagle nest, please. Again, I'm here now. This is working finely. So the dial-in number is 425-223-4960, please. So dial in, and that's all about the name of the river next to the eagle nest. Who knows the answer? Come on, let's go. Yeah, there seems to be some silence there. So. Well, that's okay. Smart viewers, I can see in the comments. Yes, we have a lot of smart viewers. I agree. But are they smart enough to answer this one?
Yes.
Okay, there's your number. Okay. It should. I hope there are going to. I hope our phone system is working, because I'm sure there are people who know this. I'm sure you can Google this one. That's a hint. I would certainly.
There, you think Notre Dame. There's a connection there with what the river's name is.
Okay, here comes a caller. Here we go. Hello? Oh, hello? Oh, that disappeared. Hopefully it'll come in again. I don't know what happened. It got disconnected, unfortunately. Oh dear. Let's wait.
I'll mention that the nest is located in South Bend, Indiana, and South Bend got its name because it's at the south bend of this river.
Okay, that's a hint. Come on, try. I hope the phone system... here we go. We got another one. Hello? Hello? Hello, who's there, please? Hello? I think somebody is answering, but I can only hear my own voice in the background from the... Hello? This is somebody who didn't expect to be dialing in. I can hear our voices, but... Hello?
Hello?
Oh, finally. Okay, you woke up. Hello, with whom am I speaking, please?
Pat Anderson,
Pat Anderson. Where are you calling from, Pat?
Roseburg, Oregon.
Okay, Roseburg, Oregon. Very nice. Thank you for joining. So, the third question was about the name of the river next to the eagle nest. Do you know the answer?
The St. Joe River.
The St. Joe River. And Brett is nodding.
Yes.
You got it. He says, yes, well done. Well done. So
Yes.
you won that one.
Thank you.
Well done, Pat. So stay on the line then. Or not on the line, sorry, stay on the show, I mean. And so no more callers, please. So we're going to close this now. And then we'll spin the wheel and you'll get something to win. Thank you for participating.
Okay, so I stay on the line?
No, don't stay on the line. I said that wrong. What I meant is we'll disconnect and just stay tuned. Make sure we have your email address and just watch which image you're going to win. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay,
great.
thank you. Thanks a lot. Fine. Bye. Okay, very good. Now let's just switch this. No more callers now. Okay, we're just going to decline that. I'm not. Gonna, yeah.
I did want to say that reminded me when I said St. Joseph River. The ND-LEEF is located at St. Patrick's County Park, which is part of the St. Joseph County Park system. And they're a great partner with us and really team up with us on a lot of our outreach events. So I just want to say hello to all them and tell them how much we appreciate their partnership with ND-LEEF.
Well, thank you very much. And by the way, I see lots of very nice comments here from viewers thanking you so much for taking so much time to educate all of us. So that is fantastic, really. Thank you, Brett. That's great.
It's been fun. Lots of great questions.
Okay, so I'm going to try now and see how I can get this wheel in without, so that we don't lose you. 1 second. Let me just I'm going to switch off that channel now. Let me just see. 1 second. I'm just going to switch you. Here comes the wheel. But what I need to do now is get you back in. So I'm just going to get this wheel up one level. See if I can do that. And then we don't lose your audio. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay, are you still there, Brett?
Yes.
Okay, very good. We can hear you. Excellent. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, this is what we do every time, is I'm going to start... Oops, no. Well, this is not my day today. What happened here? Let's try again. 1 second. Let's get that wheel back. There it is. There it is. Okay, here we go. So the wheel is spinning now, and all you need to say is stop at a certain point.
All right. Stop.
Okay, so that's number 19, the winner. That was the first person tonight. That's a beautiful snowy owl. I took this at Boundary Bay. And it was a very foggy day. I remember we had these beautiful young snowy owls coming in. So that is going to be the winning picture for you, sent in high resolution, which you can print out and enjoy for your personal purposes. So that is picture number 19 for the first caller. Thank you. So let's spin again for the second caller.
And stop.
Oh, wow. Now, this is a beautiful eagle pair. Very difficult image, probably the only one I ever took in this. So that is a great win for the second caller. That is a beautiful eagle pair flying right next to each other with harmony in the wings, also taken here near Vancouver. Okay, That's the second caller, picture number 9. And we spin it again, and the last time.
Stop.
Oh yeah, that's the look we had last time. That is the suspicious look of a 5 or 6-year-old looking at you and saying, "What are you doing?" So that's a great win too. And thank you for playing the playing the quiz game, and actually phoning in, and I think it's been great education here. So that's number 26 for the third caller. So thank you for that. So let's just switch back to Brett here. So Brett, thank you so much for participating. It's been really absolutely a pleasure and an honor to have you here. It's been very different to our usual calls, because we've not talked about raptors. We've talked more about ecosystems and micro-ecosystems, and learned a lot about how complex the whole ecosystem is. And I'm sure you would probably say that we're just at the beginning of understanding these things.
Yes. Yep. And thank you for having me on. I invite anyone that's in the area to come out to ND-LEEF and check out the nest in person. We have a great pavilion that's got a great view of the nest. On the weekends, we have a screen open in that pavilion that's got the live feed of the nest, so you can see them in person and then see what's going on in the nest also. So it's a really unique opportunity there at ND-LEEF.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Brett. So yeah, just keep in the background. We'll have a chat in a few minutes. So I'll just do the signing off here, and then we'll have a small chat. Okay, just in 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay, well, thank you everybody for being on the show. I think we had an incredibly interesting show. I certainly enjoyed it, and thank you for all the questions, for the wonderful donations that you've sent in. That's really generous. So we are definitely going to continue with the Friday shows. The Friday shows, I think, are the most interesting ones, because it's all about the education. If you've noticed, we're not doing the Wednesday shows anymore on the news, because we have noticed that there are better news channels. For those of you who didn't notice that or don't know that, don't worry. We're going to put much more emphasis, and you can see how much we really enjoy doing the Friday educational shows. So just before we go, I just wanted to show you some quick updates here. So again, thank you for being here. So I also have the Patreon channel. If you want to join the Patreon channel, shows you all about my travels. I'm going to Ecuador very soon, and then I'm to photograph or film hummingbirds in slow motion, and then I'm going back to Australia for astrophotography and so on. If you want to join there, join the Patreon channel especially. And finally, I want to thank my team. That is the Talented Talents team. That is Nicole for contacting Brett. Very well done. Thank you for that. Jenny for preparing everything well. Susie for putting all the comments in all the time. And Belladonna, I have not seen today. I assume Belladonna is probably busy, but she just came back from holiday recently. So thank you for all the great support, and also for Kevin. Kevin works a lot in the background. He does all the technical things which are so important. Thank you also to Kevin. And thank you again for all those incredible donations. There's been plenty today. That really lifts our spirits, because we have a lot of running costs, and these certainly help cover them. So thank you so much. Okay, so on that note, finally, I will let's just see. I found it now. So I wish you a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you again next Friday. I don't actually know what the topic is. I have to ask Nicole what she's been up to. So we'll know very soon. I think it's going to be very interesting as usual. So have a wonderful weekend, and goodbye.